May all beings.
Okay, here we are. Let's see. Can you all hear me? I need a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yes? Oh, and there is everybody. Look at all my beautiful Taras. Oh my goddess. How fabulous. Hello, hello, hello. Well, that was a little taste of the nuns in Kathmandu. That was the first group of nuns that we taught to share the mandala, and very powerful experience working, singing the praises in Tibetan, but using our melody. The mandala dance of the 21 praises of Tara has been turning for over 30 years now. And it started really with us not quite knowing what it was that we had or what it was that we were doing. Well, we knew what we were doing, but it certainly didn't have the vast implications that we understand now. Because at that time, for me, it was another classical Indian dance, I thought. And the work, what we had to do was manifest as the goddess and transmit that to the audience. And that was the job. And as we went on and I learned more and more about the Tibetan Buddha Dharma, I started realizing, because right away, the dance itself was created for a Tibetan Lama. It was created as a gift for Lama Tenzin on Maui. And so I arranged it in a way that would be pleasing to him. And I included the refuge dance because I knew that in Tibetan Buddhism, refuge, everything had to start with that. And the sadhana, the practice that I used, I only took pieces of it. At first, we just danced to 14 praises. But as I continued to get invitations to teach, and I started traveling, and then I started doing retreat and studying, I started realizing the implications of this dance. And I am still learning the implications of what we're doing. It is much more vast than I had suspected when I started working with this material, much more vast, because if you understand the mode, the way the Tibetan Buddhists put their relationship to reality and our experience together, and how to manifest the fullness of our potential as human beings, then you realize we have quite a treasure here, actually. And so then the job, because I started having experiences, became how to translate this to people who really did not have any attraction at all to Tibetan Buddhist practice, but were very attracted to the dance. And so first I had to admit, now, as a classical Indian dancer, our job is to magnetize. That's exactly, all the movement is created in order to attract, to bring attention to the dancer so that the dancer can transmit her experience of divinity. So the audience having their experience, whatever that is, and the dancer having her training, it comes together. And socially, culturally, it's absolutely, it's considered, at least the tradition out of which this came, essential for the life of the community, that the dancer dances before the divinity, as the divinity, as the goddess herself. So that is a piece of it. But the practice, as I continued to develop the dance, I realized that, in fact, we were working with a very profound method. And the more I worked with it, the more information was transmitted through the dance. Although I continued to take teachings and empowerments and run after all the lamas to ask them to tell me what was going on, what was this all about. Nonetheless, it was the practice itself that informed me. And what I discovered as I traveled about, and some of you were around during those days, actually, I'm looking at Ayana Rose there, uh, it became very obvious that it wasn't just me who was receiving these inspirations, who was getting insight about their practice and about their spirituality through the practice of the dance. It was not necessary that I had all the words, but as I progressed, over the years, I was given more and more information. So the first big piece that came to me about how to make this material relevant was to understand the difference between the Tibetan culture and Western culture in what a mother tells her baby when the baby is born. Because in the Western mode, very often the child must be christened, at least where I was, I was raised as a Catholic. So the baby actually is impure when the baby is born. And then through the baptism, the baby is welcomed and capable of becoming part of the spiritual community. So it's very different for the Tibetans. When a baby is born, the first thing the mother tells the baby is, you have the potential to be a Buddha. That is what you have as your human potential, by being born a human being. And it's up to you. We're all going to help you to do that. So once I realized that this was not a given to those who came to dance with me. This wasn't something that they automatically knew. This was something that actually was a rather novel idea. And yet, when I started communicating it to my Tara dancers and to people, what I would notice is the whole room would light up. The first thing I'd say is, every person in this room has the potential to manifest enlightened mind. And you are exquisite. You have everything you need. You are unique. And you are a fabric of this tremendous life. You are essential. We cannot do without you. And what I would see when I'd say that is suddenly everybody would sit up and the light would go around their head, and they were really listening, because very rarely were they told this. So that's why, out of that understanding, and it took me a couple of years of starting all of my offerings that way, that the prayer of motivation started shaping itself. Because it's a wonderful book by Lama Yeshe, Introduction to Tantra, which I used to tell all my students they absolutely had to read this book in order to understand what was going on in the practice. So in this book, this is where I got the words to the prayer of motivation from Lama Yeshe's book, Introduction to Tantra. Of course, I shaped them in a way that inspired me. And as I started sharing it with my students, I continued to shape it, as I do with almost everything that we engage in with our Tara Dhatu line. I listened and I watched to see what was exciting to people, what really woke them up. And so then the prayer of motivation was born. Well, Barbara, who is now Priya, Barbara Gach, Priya here on Maui, came to me one day and said, I created a piece of music. I have a melody for your prayer of motivation. And so she shared it, which of course was beautiful. And so there we have it. So she said, can you create some movement to this? So we had ideas, we worked on it, and yes, indeed, was not that difficult, very straightforward. And so the prayer motivation became our beginning point in our ritual practice, because it was necessary for us to affirm that we already have what we need. We need to know what it is that we're doing. It's very helpful to set the intention of why we are doing these practices, because in fact, especially the mandala of the 21 praises of Tara requires a lot of commitment. When you dance the 21 praises of Tara in the mandala formation, as we developed it live, you really have to be paying attention to what you're doing. You have a lot to learn. You have to deal with a lot of dancers, up to 22 in the mandala itself. And so you have to know what you're doing and be alert. And so it's extremely challenging, and it's extremely empowering, because everyone is working together to make this thing happen. And it's been amazing to see what it does to the dancers. So that was one piece of it. What does, obviously, as we engage in this practice, I learned more and more about what it was doing to the dancers. But then the second part of it was, what's it doing to the audience? Because this dance was created as a performance piece. So why was the audience having such a big, really, the first time I taught the dance in Seattle, the audience was filled with the women's husbands and boyfriends and their friends. There were more men in the audience than there were women. And when we finished, and the women, most of them had very little experience, either with Tibetan Buddhism or with dance. So those of you who have done the mandala, you can imagine, weekend training with all of these women who, but my experience was, if you did it, you were going to reap the benefits. You were going to be empowered by the experience. So we finished the dance, and I'm giving my little sort of talk. This was when Damala gave her first talk. Her first public talk was at the Tara dance in Seattle, this Tara dance. In the meantime, I noticed that half the audience of these big football player men were crying. And so it was rather shocking to me. And I was very, very interested in what was going on. What was the big deal? So after we were dispersing, several of the men came up to me, and one of them, with very big emotion, said to me, I know all these women, and we see them day to day. We know their challenges. We know that life is difficult for many of them, and that we never have seen the power in these women. And it was so unbelievable to realize that each one of them was in fact very powerful and very beautiful in her own way, and also very radiant with love. So that, and the seeing of this brought about a lot of emotion. Then one of the men asked me, can I take you, can I meet with you privately? And I said, well, you could take me to the airport. I'm going, I'm catching a plane. So the next day, I think it was. And so he came, he got me, and he said, I just wanted to tell you that, he said, whenever I experienced a woman in her power, I just wanted to overpower her, because it frightened me. He said, and I didn't realize that that was what was motivating me to want to be more powerful, to control her. He said, I've never been with a woman that I didn't want to control. But he said, you had these women on the stage and I couldn't control them. There was no control. I had no control at all. And they were demonstrating their power. And he said, and I realized that it was a blessing to be able to experience the power of a woman. So that was the key for me of, well, something is going on here. Something is going on besides just girls having a good time dancing, which was sort of where I was at. But, then we continued on, and it became very important for me to understand what was going on. So every time I talked with the Lama, I would ask, why are people having these intense experiences? And each one of them had something interesting to say. So the Dalai Lama told us that because Tara is the wind, when you're invoking Tara, that's what people are experiencing. They don't know what they're experiencing, and it's a matter of energetics. They don't have to see anything extraordinary. They don't have to hear anything extraordinary. It's the energetics. So that was very helpful. His line that I often quote is, "You do not need to know the name of the wind to feel its effect." So he said, "This is what's going on." So for him, that was what was going on. Well, then in this latest encounter with Anam Thupten, he reminded me of something that I always enjoyed. There are some bumper stickers that I try to get my hands on whenever I see them. And it's Tibetan script, and it says, awakening through seeing, enlightenment through seeing, and enlightenment through hearing. But the bumper stickers, enlightenment through seeing. And I finally realized when, Anam started talking about his experience with the dance, and then Bokar Rinpoche also with his experience, that liberation, that's the word, liberation on seeing, that when we dance, because of the combination of our bodies, the music and our singing, and our meditation, the visualizations and the various meditations that we've developed over the years to accompany the dance, that because of that, anyone who sees the dance, and this is what Bokar Rinpoche said, anyone who sees this dance has a temporary experience of dropping their self-obsession completely. And he said, that's an extraordinary experience, even though they don't know what's going on. He said, they don't have to know what's going on. They just know that something exceptional has happened. Something extraordinary has happened. And he said, that's why you get such a strong reaction to this dance. Because that was my question for some years. Every time a Lama would come by, I'd go, why? What is going on here? Can you tell me what's going on? But of course, a lot of what's going on is way past words. You cannot really put words on this. The words don't do it justice. And I also noticed when we tried filming the dance, it didn't have the same impact. That when we were live and dancing for a group, it didn't matter the degree of competence of the dancers. What mattered was the degree of dedication. And because the dance was so complicated, it required people to be focused in their concentration. And this created an atmosphere of energy that was exceptional. So I'm giving you the groundwork because this is what we are doing now. We are developing a virtual experience of dancing the 21 praises of Tara. So how much of this are we going to be able to achieve virtually? I don't know. It's the first time we're trying this. Fortunately, we will have a number of very experienced dancers. We have a few new dancers, but that's always helpful for all of us. It is not, it's much easier in many ways to do this dance virtually because we don't have the complication of getting everybody in and out of the mandala and being born. And, there's many advantages. In some ways, it's much easier from that perspective. So those of you who are new, you really can relax. Just in general, as always, we sort of rely on each other And especially you rely on the leader. So in this case, for this particular mandala, I will be your fearless leader. So you can rely on me, you can trust me. I have a lot of experience. And so we're going to shape this together, but I will make the decisions that make it comfortable for everyone. So here we are. What I want to do with today, because I thought, oh, this is perfect. This could be our 33rd Zoom. Anybody can come, just as when I usually travel and teach the mandala as a weekend experience. The first night is Friday night. And Friday night, I introduce all the foundation, exactly what I'm talking about here, the foundation of, okay, here we are. We're seeking to manifest. So we start with the prayer of motivation. I start by talking about it and then demonstrating it and then getting everybody to dance it with me. So we're going to do that right now. So the prayer of motivation, I'm going to ask Joshua to spotlight Miri and me. So you want to go to view and make sure your view is on speaker. Okay, yes, there we go. So Joshua, you want to spotlight me and Miri. Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm going to talk through the practice and then we're going to stand up and dance together. And Miri is going to demonstrate what I'm talking about. So Miri, if you can step back a little bit so they can see your body, okay? So we start in this practice by rocking side to side, right? Our hands are at our heart and we're rocking side to side. Now, one of the discoveries, because of the training that I had in classical Indian dance, rhythm is extremely important. Rhythm, it focuses our body mind, and it also focuses the body mind of the audience. My teacher used to say, if you're moving with a power, the whole audience is moving with you. Even if you can't see them internally, they're moving with the rhythm. So in this particular dance, we're simply moving back and forth, rocking back and forth. And then the first statement of the dance is, I am here. So we want to feel, okay, our palms are open, facing out. And just for that moment, when it's, I am here, we feel that all of our life brought us to this moment. And it's very important that we continue to cultivate the capacity to do this. All of our life brought us to this moment. And we are completely prepared. So what is it that we are seeking? We are seeking the wisdom that rests within. So I am here to manifest, right? So we want to live. In what way? We want to live from the wisdom that rests within. And according to these teachings and also to our neuroscientists, wisdom rests in the heart. Wisdom rests in the heart. So showing that movement again, I am here to manifest the wisdom that rests within. So that is our first statement of motivation. This is why we are engaging in this dance, and it's also why we're inviting others to witness it. The second declaration is, I am here to radiate. So now we imagine from this heart of wisdom, light is pouring from us. It's pouring through our heart, through our arms, through the palms of our hands. There's chakras in the palms of our hands, and it's going through the world. So we turn clockwise and we are demonstrating, I'm here to radiate my loving compassion into the world. Now, according to these teachings, when we accumulate wisdom, when we manifest our wisdom and we radiate our loving compassion, then as we encounter the world in its dimensions of duality, we want to be able to bring about a state of wisdom and compassion for all beings. So in order to do that, we need to accumulate. So we reach out and gather. We need to gather the skill and the power. So we're reaching out and gathering. I am here to gather the skill and the power to bless and empower all. Okay, so let's dance that together. Now we're going to keep mute. I know it's wonderful to hear each other sing, but unfortunately, as you can see, just with Midi and I, there's a delay in the Zoom. So we won't all be singing at the same time. It doesn't sound good. So we're going to stick with the music that Midi is playing, and we're going to dance. So we do this 3 times, our prayer of motivation, our declaration of why we're doing this practice. Okay, I think, yeah. How is that even possible since I'm the host? I don't know. Okay, onward. So now we have determined why we're doing this practice. We are, in order to manifest the fullness of our wisdom and compassion, in order to be skillful and powerful, so that we can bless others when we meet them, instead of our normal way of the way we've been trained in our culture, unfortunately, often is we meet people with an agenda. In other words, what we want from them. Do we want affection? Do we want them to give us appreciation or money or a job or whatever it is that we need, we want? We are what the Tibetans call self-obsession. We're totally obsessed in our own pocket without a recognition of the interconnectedness of everything that exists. That's the seed of wisdom. As wisdom develops, we recognize we're interconnected with everything that exists. And so from that place then, knowing that, automatically loving compassion goes out into the world. And what does it encounter? Well, it encounters a very strange phenomena, because as long as we are experiencing duality, we see that everything has a shadow. We discover that everything is impermanent, that we cannot trust anything. We can't trust that from this moment to the next, what is going to happen. So because of that, we must really understand these things. And if we are confident in our understanding of the way it unfolds, then from that place of stability, we accumulate a certain kind of vitality. And through the teachings, we learn how to accumulate this vitality. When we're talking about power, we're talking about how do we gather this vitality, and skill, how do we use it in order to bless people and empower them, and not to take advantage of them, and not to seduce them to our own ends, to our own gratification. This is the work of the orientations of the practice. So knowing that this is what we're trying to accomplish, if we think about it, it's a big deal. It's not some simple little thing, It's not, learning how to bake bread, or, not that that's simple, but it's straightforward. This job of discovering what's keeping us from our wisdom, and then once we see it, how do we disarm it? And how do we develop and cultivate compassion? And where does the skill come from? How do we get skillful? So with all of these things, we examine all of these things. That's in order to awaken into the fullness, in order to be capable of living a life of wisdom, compassion, and skill and power. So once we determine that this is our birthright and this is what we want to do, the next thing that we recognize is this isn't something we snap our fingers and it's done. Because just try it. Just try it. Try to calm yourself down. Try to not get angry when somebody is unkind, or when you see the situation in the world where people are suffering, or you see the treatment that people have for each other. What do you do? How do you maintain your stability and your clarity? How do you maintain your wisdom and compassion? And how do you use your skill? So this is the question. So in the practices, this is a very methodical, and this is what I didn't know when I started, but I had accommodated this situation unknowingly, which is this whole, what they call a sadhana, or puja, is methodical. We start by determining what it is that we want to accomplish. Then we go about invoking what it is that we need to be able to do this, so what it is that we need to be able to accomplish this. And then we actually engage in the practices that are going to bring this about. So the next piece, and I call these the foundations because they're part of the practice of any deity, yoga, or meditation, is we invoke into our presence what's going to support this journey. So this takes some examination. When I work with my students, I call it contemplation. But it basically, you want to look at your own mind and you want to see, where does this sit? Okay, what relationships do I have that are going to help me to accomplish this goal? So the first set of relationships that, because these teachings have been passed through a lineage. Now, I received most of these teachings from different, not only Tibetans, but also Indians and, various teachers that I can invoke into my presence. I can think about them and I can think about their teachings. I know that I'm part of their lineage, even though when we talk about Tara Dhatu, it's Tara's lineage. But when you're relating to me, you're relating to all of the teachers that I have had behind me and their teachers behind them. And this doesn't have to do with any confinement of culture. It has to do with engaging in certain forms of practice in ways of examining the body-mind that allows us to wake up into the fullness of our potential. So that is what we are seeking. So we invoke into our presence those beings who have supported us in this spiritual journey. Every one of you who is here in this beautiful circle of Taras, each one of you has at some point in your life wanted to know, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? And what do I have to do? What is the purpose of my life? How can I fulfill my human potential? Because I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that I have to do. So this is where the lineage of teachers is helping us to explore that within ourselves. Of course, the prayer of motivation was my answer to that. And I encourage everyone, all of my students, I encourage them to write down, to think about what are the key words that orients you towards your spiritual journey. Now, the thing about our spiritual journey is at the heart of it is a great mystery. The mystery is that it does not only manifest in the dimension of duality. It's not only an experience of I have a body and I'm surrounded by other bodies and I'm in relationship with an environment, et cetera, et cetera. That's only one mode of experience. In fact, consciousness also experiences itself as light, sound, and vibration, no gravity, no density. We experience this in dreams. It's a way of understanding how this dimension functions, or at least appears to us. But to have facility in this dimension requires certain kinds of training. So this is part of this practice. And then ultimately we come to the great mystery. And the reason it's a mystery is because it is not dualistic. And therefore, we cannot talk about it. We cannot even experience it through our senses. And yet, according to these teachings and according to the transmission of the great masters, we don't experience it in that way. We experience it as a totality. And so they can only point the way. They're a finger pointing at the moon, but they're not the moon. In other words, but they do have some confidence that if you engage in certain forms of practice and perception, that you have the capacity. This is part of the potential of our humanity. We have the capacity of experiencing the mystery, the truth, the ultimate mind experience, awakening, full awakening. So we want to invoke anyone who can inspire us in that way. We call it the lineage of teachers. And we try to remember, I really encourage everyone to have pictures of the people who inspire you. We have some great beings that have walked on this, that are still walking on this planet. Amachi is a wonderful example of a lineage of teachings. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, they're examples we can explore with them. Now, the second invocation that we engage is those who historically have demonstrated awakened mind. So in the Buddhist tradition, this is Shakyamuni Buddha. But we have different kinds of Buddhist traditions. In the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition, we have different names for Buddhas. So for instance, Tara herself is said to be an awakened being. And she manifests, her manifestation occurred in another world system. So, but when she became enlightened, she had the capacity to have 1,000 different emanations. And so these emanations interact on our planet. She has definitely engaged in our planet. So there are all kinds of enlightened ones that we can reach out to and invoke them. And through the lineage and the enlightened ones, then we engage in their teachings. We see what do they have to say, and how do we communicate with these teachings? Okay, well, they've given oral teachings, their students give oral teachings, they've written books, and through the practice, through these practices, they will inspire us. We will be able to communicate with them in our own internal fashion. So if I ask an internal question, I think it, and I feel the sensation of being supported, inspired, and guided by these great beings, by the lineage, and definitely Tara, by the enlightened ones. So these are the teachings that point the way, that say, okay, try this, look at this. Remember what you're looking for, remember what you're trying to manifest, and look at your behavior in your life and see what is not working. It becomes obvious what does not manifest awakeness, what does not manifest compassion and wisdom. When we get angry and we hurt another with our words, it doesn't matter how deserving we think they are, we have diminished our capacity. According to the Tibetans, one moment of anger and all of this radiant light energy that we've accumulating is destroyed. Because when we harm another, we are saying, you are not part of me. And that is the basis of ignorance. So we learn how to develop the relationship with the lineage of teachings, the enlightened ones, and their teachings, the Dharma. And then we're so fortunate, because what we really need to help us is to gather a community of like-minded people who are devoted, determined to manifest awakened mind, and who are willing to support each other. So this is our Sangha. This is our beautiful community that we have right here, however many people we've got, 50 or 62 right now, it looks like. Yeah, all of us are together. All of us are supporting each other. When we pray, we think of each other. We think of whatever it is that our Sangha needs, that we want to help. And so in this way, we are supported, we are protected, we are supported, and we are inspired, because you don't get anywhere without inspiration. If I can't inspire you to want to do this, you're going to just wander off and do something else, which is fine. I mean, my job is to inspire you. I know that, and I'm doing my best. I also know that sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you need something else. But in this Dhatu, I'm not alone anymore. It's also this magnificent Sangha of wonderful dancers and people who are here to support. So you have really a lot to draw upon, to be inspired. And I know that these are difficult times for some. So if it's a difficult time, reach out to your sources of refuge. If you can physically talk to them, talk to them. Talk to your Sangha sisters, talk to me, or talk to Tara. Talk to the radiant light beings that are absolutely, they've made vows to remain until we are all free. So then invoke them, tell them, oh, right, you made a vow. So help me, I need help. I need help. I need inspiration. I need to know how to take the next step so that I don't harm myself and others. So that's the next thing that we have to do, is to invoke our sources of refuge. All along, from the very beginning, even in our prayer of motivation, and now immediately following our refuge prayer, we need to be willing to commit ourselves to this journey, because the power of commitment will stand by us. What we're asking is for every aspect of our being to orient itself to the highest part of our radiance, to our wisdom. We are asking that we will continually to remember to orient ourselves in wisdom and compassion. And so in order to do that, we're taking a vow. We're taking a vow. So our vow is until I'm completely enlightened. So Miri, could you please demonstrate these movements? And Joshua, if you could also spotlight Miri. I know you've got me on the spotlight, so if you could spotlight Miri as well. We're going to reach up until the heart of enlightenment is reached, because when we open our bodies and we lift up our arms, we're opening ourselves to heavenly guidance, to heavenly radiance, to all the grace and love of the universe. And we're saying, until I'm there, until I'm completely free, I am going to go for refuge. So we bring our hands together to the three jewels, which is the awakened ones, their teachings, and the community of practitioners at the heart. Then we place our hand on our heart. Now here's our commitment. Here is our commitment. Right hand on your heart. Left hand, left foot forward. I will attain enlightenment. So that is our commitment to ourselves and to the world. I'm going to do this. And why am I doing it? Because I know it is the greatest gift I can give the world for the sake of all beings. So that's where you turn your hands out and you remind yourself, I am not making this effort. This dance, this practice, this engagement is not just about me. It's about the interconnectedness of all that exists. And so I know that as I engage in these practices, as I become awakened, so too does everybody in the world become awakened. We are all awakened by this wonderful commitment, this commitment that we make. Okay, so now I'm inviting you all to dance. Now, when we do this, on the, do you need to say something, Miri?
You do the lotus with your hands.
Yes. Yes. The lotus is a symbol of awakened mind. So Miri is saying with the right hand on the heart, the left hand comes forward as the lotus flower. Yeah. The lotus flower, meaning wisdom here is awake. This is my awakened wisdom, that I will do this. I will become enlightened for the sake of all that exists. Okay, so now in the music, the narrator, which is me, declares, I invoke. Everybody repeats after. So we can't hear each other because of the, the Zoom vagaries, but I want you to do this at home, okay? I'll just repeat after the narrator, okay? All right, let's do this, Miri. You can turn the music on. I invoke the presence of the lineage of teachers. I invoke the presence of the enlightened ones. I invoke the presence of their teachings. I invoke the presence of the community of practitioners. I am inspired by the lineage of teachers. I am inspired by the enlightened ones. I am inspired by their teachings. I am inspired by the community of practitioners. My path is supported by the lineage of teachers. My path is supported by the enlightened ones. My path is supported by their teachings. My path is supported by the community of practitioners. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the three jewels. I will attain enlightenment. For the sake of all beings. Until the heart of enlightenment is reached, I go for refuge to the three jewels. I will attain enlightenment. For the sake of all beings. Okay, so the foundation has been established. Now we're ready to invoke into our presence Mother Tara. Imagine in front of you the most radiant feminine presence that you've ever seen. Absolutely exquisitely beautiful and powerful, sitting right in the sky in front of you, smiling at you, loving you, pouring her light and love into you. She sees everything about you. She sees your aspirations, your accomplishments. She sees your confusion, and she sees your pain. And she loves you. She loves you like a mother loves her child, unconditionally. She absolutely loves you. And she knows that she's going to do everything that she can to help you to fulfill your potential. She's covered with silks and jewels that sparkle and dance because she's willing to attract others to her in order to bring them benefit. She's seated with her right leg extended because she's swift to go to all who call out to her, and also because she's a dancer. Her left leg is pulled in because she's mastered the power of desire, and her head tilted slightly to the right shows her mastery over the power of anger. She's radiating her light in all directions, and as she looks at you, you feel this white light pouring from her forehead. And it comes into your forehead, it touches your third eye. And this beautiful light reminds you that you have a body of light. And it gives you permission to manifest fully in this practice as a radiant light being and to call yourself a Tara. This is part of this particular transmission, this white light pouring from her forehead into you. And then from her throat, red light pours into your throat. This is the blessing of the mantra. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. So this gives you the power of the mantra, the power of pure speech to awaken people's hearts and minds through pure speech and by accumulating the energy and the radiance that's inherent in the mantra. So red light from her throat to yours. From her heart, a beam of blue light penetrates your heart and awakens your understanding of the mystery of the infinite nature of your mind's essence, and you feel yourself filled with love and compassion and wisdom, radiating it in all the directions. So she reminds you that this is an aspect of awakened mind. And as you manifest as her, as you manifest as a radiant light being, your heart is open, infinite, and spacious. In this way, the three lights pour from her into you, and you feel yourself completely integrated within the dimensions of consciousness that is your capacity as a radiant human being, as a human being manifesting its potential. As we continue with the practice of Tara, it starts with this, her presence always before us. Whether you can see her or not is not so important. It's helpful. It's helpful to be able to visualize her, to see the green aspect of her body, to see that you can see right through her like a rainbow, and yet she's vividly before us. You can see the lotuses that she holds in her hand and her gestures, because she gestures, fear not, I am a true source of refuge. And she gestures, I give all that is needed. So as we manifest as Tara, whenever we assume these gestures, it helps us to remember that our very body, within our very body, we manifest the radiance of a wisdom being, the radiance of a compassionate being. And the practice, as we engage further and further in this practice, it is to help us to attune to this part of our potential. We have the potential to be many things. We also have the potential to be unkind. We have the potential to be angry. We have the potential to be depressed. What's interesting about this engagement is that we do have a certain amount of choice. Now, if we do not orient ourselves in a way that is of benefit, we lose this power of choice and we become possessed by various shadow behaviors. So it's very important to always feel that, to understand who Tara is, what she represents, that what she is calling forth from us is to manifest this awakened presence. That is our potential, our choice. We have to choose to do this, and then we have to engage in whatever practice, whatever activity necessary in order to manifest this fullness within us. And according to these teachings, we are infinitely capable of doing this. It's not an easy journey, but it's just like a baby learning to walk. Not an easy journey, but with persistence, because our motivation is strong. We want to fulfill the fullness of our human potential. Our motivation is strong. Therefore, no matter what the obstacles, no matter what the degree of training that we need to engage in, we can do this. We can do this, but we do it because we're orienting ourselves into this realm of fulfillment. Okay, so now Tara is before us. Her mantra, I want to talk about the mantra a little bit, and I want to engage in the mantra dance with you. So the words of Tara's mantra, Om Tare, this means, O Great Mother. Tu Tare, you are the remover of fear. Ture, you are the bestower of good fortune. Soha, that's the way it is. That is the essential nature of Tara. She is the great mother who gives what is needed and who protects. So her mudra, Miri, could you stand and demonstrate? If I stand too far away, you're not going to be able to hear me. So I want you to see. So Josh, if you could just spotlight Miri right now, not me, but keep me talking so you could hear my talking, but Miri fills the screen. Okay. All right. So Tara is sitting, and the way we demonstrate this sitting is we take what we call a bhangi, a bend. Okay. Her right hand is gesturing, I give all that is needed. So this is the Dhyani Mudra, and she's holding it out. And we imagine that from the chakra in her hand, light is pouring out of that hand and giving all that is needed. The left hand, she gestures protection, and then ring finger touching the thumb comes to her heart. This means I am a source of refuge. The protection that she offers is as a source of refuge, okay? Her head's tilted slightly to the right. Yep, there, and there is the pose of Tara. So now we are going to come back to this a number of times in order to remind our body-mind that this is part of our essential nature. So you want to really practice this movement and be able to get into it very easily. So Miri, your left hand at your heart, demonstrate. You don't want to turn it in, you want to turn it out. Right. So it's palm out as much as you can. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. So we're going to be using this particular mudra in our mudra dance. Now, in the mandala of Tara, we engage in 3 meditations. And when you are practicing, when you take this in, when you're practicing it on a daily basis or whenever, you're going to say as many mantras as you possibly can. And while you're saying them, you're going to couple them with meditations. Now, there are 3 meditations that I recommend. The first one is reaching your hand up, all the way up above, and opening yourself to divine empowerment. Feel the light and love pouring into you, filling you. And then you bring your hands at your heart, and you feel that you've taken that light and love. You're concentrating it in your heart. Okay, now you're going to take that power and do something with it. So the first thing we're going to do is balance the elements. So first there is the element of the earth. So the earth is the thumb touching, okay? So now just imagine that you, with all of your vitality and all of your radiance, that you are giving the earth and the earth element in your body and the earth that we stand upon and live upon, you're blessing it and filling it with this light. So now open your arms, Miri. Om Tare Tu Tare. Ture comes to the heart. Soha. We bless the earth. Om Tare Tu Tare. Ture. Now the next Soha, we're going to bless the waters by making a circle. Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare. Ture. Soha. Now we balance the fire element by making a triangle. Om Tare Tu Tare. Ture. Soha. Now we make a half cup. And this is representing, yep, that's the right hand on top of the left. And this is representing the air element because the cup doesn't have anything in it. This represents the air element, okay? So that is the first set of meditations. So when you are chanting the mantra, and we're going to do this together, we are going to bless and balance the elements. The second meditation, now of course this will feel different because we're not in a group doing this. You're going to walk forward. So normally in doing the first meditation, we're walking in a circle, okay? So Minnie, if you could just show that. Walking in a circle. Ready? Om Tare, starting with the left foot. Om Tare Tu, Tare Tu Re, Soha. Okay, perfect. So you continue to do this for the 4 elements. Then the second meditation, this is something that you really want to get in the habit of doing when you're just walking or driving and you're saying the mantra. You imagine in your hands, in your cupped hands, all of your joys. So just think of what you enjoyed this morning. good cup of coffee perhaps, or a cup of tea, or a glass of juice, a nice comfortable bed that you woke up in, the beauty of your surroundings, the friends that you've accumulated, or your family. So your joys, all of your joys are in your hands. And you're going to take 4 little steps into the center, and you're going to offer those joys to all of your sources of refuge, especially Tara. So stepping forward on the left foot, right? Yeah, Miri is showing us. Left foot, right? You start 1, 2, go ahead, Miri. 3, 4, and your hands go up. And you're offering all of these joys and all of this preciousness to Tara and all of your sources of refuge. And you imagine that all of them are just delighted with this effort, this selfless effort. You're giving away your joy, and they're participating in your joy with you. Because of that, you're opening yourself to receive their blessing and radiance. So you bring this blessing into your body as you take 2 steps back. And then you take the energy, and if we were dancing in a circle, we would look across the circle and we'd bless and empower whoever was across from us. But for us, we're going to imagine of all of our wonderful Taras, all of the 64 delightful beings that we're sharing this Zoom with, and we're sending our light and love to them. We're empowering them. We're blessing them. We're wishing that they take the power of this practice and are able to manifest the fullness of their radiance. And so now, Miri, why don't you do this and you sing as you do it? Excellent. Wonderful. Now the third, this is a meditation. This is a meditation. The third meditation is one of the most powerful practices in Tibetan Buddhist mind training, which is a version of Tonglen. Now there are many different ways of doing Tonglen, and you have varying degrees of success. So it's going to be up to you to figure out what is the most potent. But in the dance, we have determined this is the way we're going to do it. We assume Tara's position with our left hand at our heart and our right hand gesturing. We give all that is needed. And we think, now for the moment, think about your loved ones, think about the situation in the world right now, and wish with all of your heart that you could help this situation. So you're going to take all of your awareness, all of your awakeness, you're going to concentrate it into in the center of the circle. You're taking it from your heart, concentrating it in the center of the circle. And then you're going to face out, and you're going to send this light to the world. And you're going to reach out, you're going to take away the suffering. And you're going to bring the suffering into your own heart, where it is consumed in your wisdom and compassion. It builds the fire of your wisdom and compassion. Maybe come forward a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so now let's do this. Taking the light from your heart, concentrating it in the center of the circle, imagining sending it out into all those who are suffering, seeing it arrive, reaching out, taking away all the suffering of the world, all the divisiveness, all the depression, all of the anger, all of the hatred. And it meets in your heart whatever you have ever had anything to do with any of this, meets that, and all of it is consumed and transformed into light and radiance. So now do it with the mantra, Miri. Om Tare. Yeah, go ahead. Om Tare. Tu Tare. Ture. Soha. Beautiful. Okay, so we're all going to do this together. We have a recording where we are going to do all of these meditations, and we're going to do the whole series 3 times. Now, if you're tired, you can do this sitting down, or you can stand and walk. But I'm going to put on gallery view because I want to watch everybody. I want to remember that I'm sending my light and my love and my empowerment to all of you. Now, for those of you who don't know this dance, you can go ahead and stay on speaker view. That's really fine. And that way you can watch me and Miri. I think those are the two that Josh has spotlighted. But the rest of you who know the dance, have it on speaker, on gallery view. So we really can dance together and empower each other. Okay. Well, it's wonderful to dance with you ladies, even if you're so far away. Even if I just see you in these little tiny boxes, it's still so magical, so precious to dance together with you all. It's wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about what's coming. Yes, so for 2 days, tomorrow, and in 2 weeks, Saturday, we're going to put together our virtual mandala. So I know that a number of you have already determined that you're going to dance a praise. This is wonderful. And so we'll start really putting all of that together, the details of it tomorrow. And I'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions. If you have any questions to ask now, we can deal with a little bit of that. For those of you who have not signed up, I know some of you can only come part-time. If that's the case, you're welcome to come as a protector. You are welcome to be in the line of protection. That will work. For those of you who have a lot of experience dancing in the mandala, you can come just the last weekend if necessary, because most of what I have to share, of course, how we put this together virtually is going to be unique. It's not going to be the same as what we've been doing. But that's all right. The interesting thing is we don't have to worry about stepping on anybody's foot. We don't have to worry about how are we going to get out of the mandala and how are we going to get back into it again. There's a lot of scope here for us to just relax and enjoy ourselves and be playful. There's no real tension, even though we will invite an audience on Sunday. So you can tell your family and friends if they want to check in and see what's going on. They're welcome. We will be sending out the links to the different the Saturday, tomorrow, Sunday, and next Saturday. Those will be password protected. Only those who have actually signed up to work with us. So if you want to work on any capacity together, if you want to dance on Sunday, then you need to do that. So if you haven't done it yet, contact me and I can tell you what to do and how to do it. And we can determine what position you'll take in the mandala. Yeah, and then Sunday we'll make sure that you have the link. People will have to register, but they will not need to, it won't be password protected. So we can send our light out as far as possible through an audience as well as through each other. One of the things that I've asked the Taras to do is to write down what does it mean to you to be engaged in this practice, the practice of why did you choose the praise that you chose? The reason I've done this is because we discovered when we were working with Anam's poem that it was actually a very powerful activity, and that it really lent itself to a deepening of the experience of the practice. And so I thought I would try it with the praises, the 21 praises. And considering what I've received already from the praise dancers, the ones that were able to prepare, amazing, fantastic. It's exactly what I had hoped, that you really are thinking deeply, what does this mean to you in your life? Now, not everybody is going to share their piece tomorrow. Some will share it in 2 weeks. So dancers, if you haven't gotten it ready, don't worry about that. It's really okay. No tension, no anxiety. I have enough to deal with tomorrow that we will enjoy. We will really get a good taste of what's going on. One of the wonderful blessings of this modality, this Zoom, is that we can actually take the time to watch each other dance. Very often in a mandala, a weekend mandala, there just simply isn't time to watch the dancers do what they're doing. And it's very inspiring. It's really beautiful to see how each one in their unique way becomes Tara. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to ask any questions. Do you have any questions that you would like to ask about the practices that are coming, about the workshop, or about the offering?
See
I
Lily.
don't see.
See Lily.
Okay.
Yes, I was just not sure how to sign up for the workshop. I don't know if I did or not, or how to register for the Zoom tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So what you need to do is go to the main Dhatu homepage
Okay.
and make some kind of donation. I've asked from $25 to 108. When you do, or if you've got a problem with money, let me know and we'll figure it out. And then send that to me and tell me what praises you would choose to dance if you were going to dance. That doesn't mean you'll get one of those, but pretty much so far, I've pretty much been able to honor just about everybody in their request. If they sent me 3 choices, if you only send me 1 choice, well, there's not much I can do, but 3 choices, it seems like we can fit. So we're going to do 2 mandalas at once, which means that this is another little blessing. You won't be dancing, many of you will not be dancing your praise alone, some of you will. And I think that's going to be very interesting. When we had our camps, we often did 2 mandalas at the same time, either dancing towards each other or dancing towards the audience. Or when we danced with the nuns, we had 3 mandalas dancing. So I know that that works. Okay, Lily?
Mhm.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other question? Oh, there she is. Yeah, see Lily.
Amina has her hand
It's like,
raised.
it's so hard for me to find. Who?
Jacqueline. Jacqueline.
Okay, Jacqueline, talk.
And Amina as well.
And then Amina. Okay. So Jacqueline, did you unmute yourself?
No, you need to. Yes, yes.
Couple questions. Could you review in the mantra dance the different order of the elements?
Yeah. Okay. So this is Earth. Okay. So I'm making a square. My thumbs are touching. Okay. This is water. It's a circle. I'm making a circle.
Okay.
This is fire. I'm making a triangle. And then this is air. I have my hand is in a cup. This is my right hand. It's being supported by my left hand. So it's like crescent moon, half sphere. Those are the different ways that I've heard it described.
Okay, thank you. The second question, the protectors,
Yes.
will they be coming tomorrow to?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The protectors will be coming for all of the days of the workshop.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now, of course, you know, Rixen knows his job very well. So if he, it's okay, but no, the protectors are most definitely welcome. We have right now 6 protectors. Yeah. Okay. And is anything else, Jacqueline? No.
Amin.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Amina? You can unmute yourself wherever you are. I'm looking for you.
Me too. I can't
Okay, I'm a shadow. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, it's because I'm laying in bed, so I don't have the camera on. But what are the times tomorrow and then next week, please, again?
The rest of the 3 days are 11 to 1.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And Lynn, did I see Lynn Lerner? Did you have your hand up? Yes. So nice to see you, Lynn. Thank you for coming. Can you unmute yourself?
Oh, yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now I am unmuted. Yes, thank you. So that's 11, I think is, that's a little earlier. So that's 4 o'clock is possible maybe that I can do it. I wanted to make sure because again, we're coming from New York and I am engaged in other Zoom Dharma activity. But I would very much like to join, and I will see what I'm able to do. This is again this tomorrow, and also the next weekend. Is that correct?
No, no,
Oh.
we're taking 2 weeks. So the reason for that is I want to give everybody lots of time to master their praises, to be absolutely confident, and then we will engage in putting the last pieces together and offering the performance. So it's this tomorrow, then we take the next weekend off, and then it's the weekend right after Thanksgiving. And if you want to dance a praise, Lynn, then you just need to commit to being at all the practices. But if you want to dance as a protector, then there's no issue. Then you can come and go.
And we make up our own protector movements, or you
No,
have?
the protector movements are prescribed, and Miri will be holding a couple of classes for the protectors. She'll go through each one of the gestures so that everybody will know what it is that they're doing. You can also download the Vimeo Dance the Goddess. That gives all of the gestures of the protectors. Or you can get the DVD, Dance the Goddess. All the gestures of the protectors are there as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And
And
I am so excited. It's
Yes.
wonderful. I mean, I've been wanting to dance with you forever. So it's really sweet. It's very sweet. Yeah, yeah. So for the rest of you ladies, Lynn does a dance of, it's a Dakini dance, isn't it?
it's I do Gaysar dancing, Ling Gaysar, who is an emanation of Padmasambhava, if any of you are Dharma practitioners. And Ayana knows it. We have performed it for many years at Pemo Saling. And the female dancers, because it's male and female dancers, it's a Dzogchen dance. The female dancers are emanations of Tara, and we have a Tara dance, or it's the goddess of emptiness, Tony Lamo, and it is wonderful. Very.
I'm so happy. So I'm very honored that you want to dance with us, Lynn. I'm very, very honored.
I dance with a New York group as much as I can. Thank you.
That's so wonderful. I know. Hey, yay! Let's hear it for the New York group. Rah rah. I'm so proud of you girls. Really, it's just fantastic. Okay, so I saw someone over here. Was it Phyllis and Habib? Phyllis, did you have something you wanted to say? Yes. Let me unmute. Ask you to unmute. Okay, go for it.
I wanted to tell you, Lynn, that the movement of the protectors is what we dance every morning. The dance of the qualities is very similar. But
It's the same.
I would recommend dancing them with Miri. And I was just wondering about the links to the next classes. We'll be getting those sent to us. Okay.
Yes, well, I requested Josh to put that together today, so hopefully later this afternoon we'll get them. I know my emails get lost, you know. I somehow, especially with Josh, because I send him so many, and sometimes I get the wrong email address. Yeah, so the poor guy, I have these expectations. And he's never really seen one. So yes, Josh will set it up for Saturday, tomorrow, and the next week's Saturday. That will be password protected. And then Sunday will be just an open, you'll have to register. So we'll set that up today. We'll get that off to everybody. So you'll be able to pop on tomorrow without any problem. If you have an issue trying to come on tomorrow, you've got Josh's email address, and he's very alert to paying attention to people's needs. So, if you can't get on, just connect with him and he will help. Right, Josh? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Phyllis Moses. Let me unmute. Okay.
So if you just want to observe it, or if other people want to observe it, would that be the Sunday, the 29th? Or
Yes.
And there will be a separate link for that?
Yes. Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Great.
Yep. That's, I mean, it's going to be interesting we're just now figuring out how to do spotlights and how to make this work. It's, very different energetically than in person, but I think we'll do okay. It's Tara's our guide. She decided she wanted this one, so I'm up for it. Nice to see you, Phyllis. Okay, and it looks like Tara Noor. Yes, how nice to see you, my dear. My goodness. Very, very precious. Okay, so you need to unmute yourself.
I did.
There you go.
Yes. Okay, great. Are you recording tomorrow?
Probably. Yeah, we probably will record tomorrow.
Because tomorrow's the day I have the conflict. So because I'll be in another retreat. Although I would love to be able to hear part of it. I don't know if that's possible. I might step out, right here in my own retreat space.
Actually,
right?
that might be a good idea. Recording that might be a really good idea. So that way, the reason I say that those who have, like yourself, I mean, you're a level 3 teacher, you've been doing this for what, 25 years, something like this.
Yes.
So, there's no reason why you can't attend the end weekend. You'll want to at least be there for Saturday to prepare for Sunday. So you're not,
Absolutely.
stumbling along, but tomorrow you can manage, it won't be such a big deal. Yeah, but I think that's a good idea. We can certainly record it and then make it available to the participants of the workshop. Yeah, we can do that.
Right, you won't be able to send it, but maybe a Google Drive link. So,
yeah, well,
Josh probably knows all this.
He does. Josh will be the one to decide how we're going to do that, but he's the one who'll do it.
Okay.
Hallelujah
great.
for Mr. Josh. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Bye,
Well, while I'm on, I'll say it's lovely to see everyone, and I am so excited. This is really wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Any other questions? Do I see any other hands? I think I see Jacqueline. Okay, Jacqueline. Oh no, that's Rigson. Okay, unmute.
Okay. I sent you and Myra and Carrie and Paravati some information about liberation through seeing, which you may find very useful.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yes, and I got your paper on the protectors. So I wanted to talk with you about it before you make any kind of presentation, but I think it's really wonderful. I thought it was really very insightful and helpful.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Om Tare.
Om Tare. Anybody else have something they want to share or some question or anything else going on? It looks like we covered it. Okay, I'm so glad. This is wonderful. Okay, well, what I would like to do now is I'd just like to do the dedication dances and the 4 immeasurables I'm going to ask Miri to lead. So Joshua, if you could spotlight just Miri for the 4 immeasurables, because I make too many mistakes. I don't want anybody to follow me. But I definitely want to dance. And then I'd like to do Omahung. And then we'll just bring this, this event to a close today. It's been really just such a joy. So Miri, if you can play the 4 immeasurables and then just stop a second, and then we'll play Omahung. The 4 immeasurables are probably one of the most powerful prayers that you can do. If you're finding yourself to be obsessed with negativity, I mean, we have such a fabulous opportunity right now to look around at the world and see it's crazy. The chaos, the degree of chaos is crazy. So whenever you start to slip into judgment, self-judgment, judgment of others, divisiveness, anger, depression, say the 4 immeasurables, sing the 4 immeasurables over and over and over. It's a great purifier for the mind. It's a great support for the mind. Uh-oh. Joshua, would you put your wings away, please?
Spotlight's on Miri. Come on, don't look at me.
I see you. Okay. Let's do the 4 immeasurables. You ready, Miri? Okay. We come together to bring heaven to earth. Opening our hearts, we rest in the wisdom of interconnectedness. We are all together in this wonderful adventure of life. We offer each being in this wide and wonderful world love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. May this wish increase more and more until it bathes the whole world.
Suffering and a cause of
So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So now we're going to gallery. We'll dance Omahung as our last piece. But before we do that, as soon as it's over, I'm going to say a little dedication prayer, and then I'm going to step out. You're all welcome to hang out and talk with each other to the degree that Josh and Miri want to keep the space open. Before we go, do you have any other questions or anything else that we need to discuss? Okay, so Miri, Om Ahung. Body, speech, and mind empowered. Throughout this radiant and abundant universe, we gather our offerings, transform them into wisdom nectar, and pour the blessing upon our world, giving everyone exactly what they need.
White light, body made of light. Red light, powerful. Blue light, body made of light. Peace, power of love. Heart.
all beings be happy. May all beings be free. Mother Tara, and all of our radiant sources of refuge, thank you for being present with us today, for enlivening our sharing, for dancing with us, for dreaming with us, for guiding us, for awakening us. I pray that we may continue to cultivate this precious path, that we may continue to walk together, that we may support each other with love and kindness. And I pray that our world will be blessed by our efforts. May the light of our sincere hearts go out into our world and bring peace, resolution to all conflict. May all beings live in joy. Swaha, swaha, swaha. Thank you all so much. It's just been a delightful, delightful sharing, and I look forward to the next time we're together. Bye for now. Aloha, aloha, aloha.